Thousands of military families across the country are being shielded from critical information about the providers that handle their health care, even when those families believe mistakes and misconduct have caused injuries and deaths. But a whistleblower is helping our national Factfinder team pull back the curtain of secrecy in Doctors of Defense.
After 2 years investigating malpractice in the military health system, battling the Defense Health Agency for records, and interviewing nearly 20 experts, patients, advocates, attorneys, and lawmakers, it was a package that arrived in the mail that is helping to crack a curtain of darkness around negligent care at the hands of military doctors.
Nobody would know about it if it wasn't for whistleblowers within the Defense Department or investigative journalists.
A whistleblower sending our national investigative team documents typically kept confidential by federal law. We're seeing something families don't when their loved ones are killed or severely injured by military providers. It's paperwork that details the play-by-play that happens after a mishap in a military medical facility, as doctors lay bare problematic and tragic cases. After a death or serious injury, this is the first step the military uses internally to evaluate the potential for discipline or liability. It details whether doctors made errors in technique or judgment, delayed diagnosis, communicated ineffectively, even whether equipment was missing or failed to work. It asks 2 critical questions. Was the incident preventable? Did the military providers meet the standard of care? But even when mistakes are made and acknowledged in black and white, what's said in this paperwork is withheld from military families, even if they sue or file a claim.
It's a chasm. It's a chasm of untruths, zero transparency.
Susie Way feels a void unlike any other, the kind only a mother who's buried a son can possibly understand. The hollow of heartbreak amplified by the aggravation of trying to figure out what killed him in the first place.
I live with that guilt. I live with that guilt. That why didn't I get on a plane and do something about this? But he kept saying to me, Mom, I'm going to be okay. I trust them.
Jordan Way had no reason not to trust the medical staff at Bush Naval Hospital at 29 Palms in California. He was one of them. The 23-year-old Navy corpsman had surgery in December 2017. Records show he was discharged with oxycodone for pain, returning to the ER hours later, telling the staff medication wasn't working. The dose was increased as his pain continued, with his fellow corpsmen doling out pills as prescribed. But Jordan was never evaluated in person despite multiple calls to his surgeon and the hospital, dying just 4 days after surgery from opioid intoxication.
He was opioid naive, and the dosing that the doctors were giving him, the other dosage, they weren't clearing his system. So he was having a buildup of toxins in a very short period of time.
But it would take years of fighting for his family to learn more about his death, requiring multiple Freedom of Information Act requests and congressional help to get his file. The Ways never got that confidential form we showed you earlier. What they did get left a lot of questions. Jordan's file filled with black holes. It's not the first time we've seen military officials playing Doctors of Defense.
What we reported, did it surprise you, shock you?
Of course it shocked me.
U.S. Senator Chuck Grassley reacting to the findings of our previous investigation into military malpractice. After filing numerous information requests over the last 2 years, we obtained data showing between 2018 and 2022, there were nearly 500 military medical provider reports to a confidential government data bank that tracks discipline, lawsuit settlements, and malpractice payouts, and nearly $1 billion in taxpayer money spent on malpractice claims filed against military providers in the last 15 years. The names of all of them are kept confidential.
In the civilian side, we know who those people are. Their names are public. And the public ought to be protected from people that don't deliver medical care the way that the profession dictates.
The Ways submitted a malpractice claim with the military, along with expert testimony from doctors who reviewed his file. They called his death avoidable, yet the family's claim and subsequent appeal were denied.
They hold all the cards. They hold all the cards. And and they're not being, and the DOD is not being held responsible.
According to the Defense Health Agency, nearly 600 malpractice claims have been filed since January of 2020. Only 20 have been paid. More than 250 denied, and the rest are still in limbo. If you have a story, we want to hear from you. Call us or email our investigators at the address you see right there on your screen. We'll look into any of your issues for the next Factfinder Investigates.